Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Kiddie Korner Media. And today we're going to be talking about anxiety. It's something that you hear a lot about, yet we don't fully understand yet what causes it. Why is it in some people worse than others? So on and so forth. There's so much information out there, and it's so hard to know what applies to each person because they're all very different. I know I've had my own experiences with anxiety, and some of the things that I found with kids is the hardest part is you have this overwhelming feeling, but how do you explain it? Especially when someone asks what's wrong. And why are some simple questions like, hey, okay, can we calm ourselves down? Can we take a breath? Can sometimes make it worse, sometimes it could help it do better. Everyone is going to be different. And I think the ability to just be able to say what is going on, no matter what, without fear of judgment, is a great way to start with kids. And I found this beautiful book called The Whatifs by Emily Kilgore. And it's one gorgeously uh, illustrated. We're following a young girl. She's about to have a recital come up, and her what ifs. These are questions. What if something happens, starts forming in her mind? And they take on the little shape of these cute little creatures here, but they start growing and having more and more and more to the point it's so overwhelming that she can barely function. And I'd like to read a little part of you that I thought was very beautiful. By the day of her recital, the weight of the what ifs was felt unbearable. Cora stood backstage, anxiously awaiting for her turn to perform. The longer she waited, the more the what ifs appeared, each one grabbing hold and weighing her down, more than the last. What if I trip on stage? What if the bench is too tall? What if the pedals are too squeaky? What if I start coughing? What if I play the wrong note? What if nobody claps? You just again see the beauty of like what is definitely going on in her mind and how much pain, how much it feels, how much it hurts. Eventually, another young girl comes and starts talking to her about it, like, what's going on? And she says, my what ifs are too heavy. They're making me scared. And together with this friend, they find a way to calm her down, get her grounded to where she is, and actually start seeing her what ifs for something different. What if I do well? What if people do applaud? And trying to reframe those into questions that boost her confidence more than weigh her down. And that is a hard thing to do, but they've done it very beautifully in this book. And I would say another piece of media that did, in my opinion, a good job representing what anxiety can be is actually Inside Out 2. The scene where Riley's anxiety takes fully over and is just spinning out of control, I thought was a very powerful scene. It felt like, yes, that's what it's like to be in my head when I feel anxious. So having to show these kind of things to kids might help them, one, feel a little less alone about these feelings. They're so overwhelming, even for adults. Imagine a little kid, even teenagers, all of them. They need a chance to talk it out, to say what's going on in their head, to, even if it sounds like it's coming out of left field, it's still important to them. So don't minimize it. Ask them the questions, listen to them. Sometimes that helps, but also grounding them, getting them out of their head and here in the present is really important too. Personally, I do kind of a breathing technique where, as I'm taking slow breaths, I first think, what are 5 things I just see in the room around me? What are 4 different sounds that I can hear right now? Do I smell anything? So I settle it into my senses so that I know I'm right here. I'm not up in my head worrying about what's next. So that is a suggestion for some people if they want to give that away. There's another one where you're actually passing your hand over your fingers and taking each breath in as you go up, out as you go down. The sensory as well as the breathing is what's going to help calm a person down. But in the end, what people need most is the chance to speak and to know that it's okay to speak. And to also know that these what ifs can be overbearing and scary, but they could also help us in some ways of trying to challenge us to push forward. And it's finding the balance between the scary what ifs and the ones that push us forward. So that's all I really have to say today. But hopefully you find this book helpful. If not, please let me know if you have any suggestions yourselves. All right, well, you have a good one, and pass on that positivity. Thanks for joining. Bye.